All right, welcome everyone to EKU Football's Week 9 Zoom press conference. Joined as always by head football coach Walt Wells, and we are joined by the student athletes Ryan Jackson and John Stone today. As always, you can type your questions in the chat or use the raised hand function. We'll make sure we get to you. With that, I'll open up the floor, Coach Wells, with your opening statement.
Well, appreciate everybody being here and looking forward to homecoming week here at EKU with Utah Tech coming in. Obviously, not happy with the past 2 weeks and last week's results. Uh, we had some challenges that we needed to overcome and really didn't. And that's, a credit. That is, we got to coach better, we got to play better, and we got to do some things better. And it's not like it's overall, it's just some little areas that we got to fine tune and get better. I think we can get to the results that we expect and that we want. And so have a great week of practice and get ready for a Utah Tech team coming in here that's searching for a win and went to win and got close last week at home against Austin P and looking to get close and get that thing this week against us. But we've got to do everything we can in our power not to let that happen. With that, I'll open it up for any questions.
All right, Mike.
Coach, first of all, I want to ask about the homecoming itself and how important it is. Every year you see faces that you haven't seen in a while. Just the importance of homecoming to EKU. We know about the tradition of it and kind of what it means to you.
Well, I think it's a big deal for EKU. Big for our students, our current students, but our former students, alumni, and former players, everybody involved in the program, in the football program, but not just the football program and EKU altogether. I mean, I know the criminal justice department's big, and they'll have people there, education. I mean, the business, the list goes on. Everybody's got something to do. Get something every week for the students to do, and hopefully they build a love for EKU like all of us have. And then obviously our job is the game on Saturday, and to go out and perform well and to win. But I think it's important. It's an important weekend in Richmond, and important for the city of Richmond, Madison County, and for people to come out and be a part of what's going on here.
You got Tarleton State waiting next week, and we know ranked opponent Utah Tech coming in. They're a little bit lower in the standings. So, how do you stay focused on this week and not what lies ahead for the team?
Well, the last 2 weeks didn't give us focus on this week's, and I got some problems that I don't think I have, and I'm gonna have to figure it out. I'm focused on Utah Tech. I hadn't even thought about Tarleton other than, you look at who's next week. All right, so we had to make some flight arrangements and some food arrangements, or answer some questions to Dan Bredowitz this week. But other than that, I ain't worried about Tarleton State because, we'll worry about them next Sunday when we get back in. So I hope our players feel the same way. I know they're hungry for victory. They were hurt Saturday when they didn't win, and I think that's it's a long flight back. So I think all that will take care of itself when we get there.
When you look at Utah Tech, again, talked about them being below in the standings. So, how important is it to come out and not only get a win, but do it in a way where, okay, this is EKU football and start to build some momentum as you go toward the second half of the season?
Well, I think, you always have the way I look at it, Mike, is we need to go out and play at a level and a standard that we need to play, whether it's Utah Tech or whether it's Tarleton State or whoever. It doesn't matter. We have to play to a standard, and we didn't do that the last 2 weeks. And I've got to to find a way to get the players to be able to do that. Our coaches have to be able to do that, and then we have to push forward and get that. I mean, they're not going to come in here and roll over tonight. I think everybody needs to understand that. I mean, I get the record, I get everything that everybody sees, but that's a proud football team. They're proud people. They're going to come in here with pride, and they're going to come in here and do what it takes to get a win. And so we're going to have to do what it takes from our end. Is it important? Yeah, it's no more important than last week getting the win or next week getting the win. It's the next one. We need to get a win. I agree. I mean, we're on we went on a 2-game skid, 3-game winning streak, 2-game skid. Now it's time to start it back up again. And no better way to do that than in homecoming.
Last one for me. What do you want to see from your team on Saturday to, okay, we're back or we're good again? Like, what do you want to see from them to kind of give yourself some confidence that you've righted the ship as you go forward?
Well, first and foremost, we're not far off. Okay. Second of all, I want them guys to understand that everybody's going to come in here and give you your best shot because we're EKU. We have to play consistent and hard and physical football for 60 straight minutes, not 55, not 52. We have to do it all the time. And then we have to play it together, just watch different tapes. I mean, or different sides of the ball. There's one guy or maybe two guys just not getting it done, not maliciously, not anything other than it's not getting done in that play to make that play a negative play, whether it's a negative play on defense, whether it's a negative play on offense. And so we have to find the way to make sure that we take care of that because, every time you come back and watch film, you say, well, they could have got us there, but we could have got them there. And and you do all that. That's college football. That's football in general. I mean, I watch all pro tape. I watch all FBS tape and, Power Five and all that just to see and gauge, or where are we missing? What are we doing? And we just have to improve our percentage and take it to the next level. And if we see that, if we play hard, we play physical, we get after us, it's like I tell our team, I want to be a suffocating defense, a dominating offense and special on special teams. And, we've got to go out and execute that away. And if we'll execute that away and be consistent, our execution was better this week than it was the week before. And so it has to be to a level that's winning.
You said you needed to fine tune. Is that fundamentals, or is that attention to detail and game plan, or what is it?
I think really it's a little bit of everything. I mean, we've got some young guys in some young positions that at critical times are making some critical mistakes. And then we've also got some new players playing in positions because of some injuries. And that's not an excuse. That's just the reality of it. They have to be a little more in tune to what they're doing in the game plan and in where we're at. And then we have to make sure that we're putting them as coaches in the position to make those plays. And we're not asking them to do too much. And they're getting the consistency to be able to understand what's going on. And as you show that you can handle this portion, then you raise it up a little bit to that portion. And I think that's important to understand as a coach because they're all good plays. I mean, I can come in there and slap down 100 plays and they're all good. I mean, they all draw up and they're going to score and they're going to do this. But if we can't execute them, they're not good. And so we have to make sure that we're giving them the plays that they can execute. Usually that's what happens when you're not executing. It's the experience that brings them to that level.
And then you know that winning can bring a different outlook at practice, losing the same. So what are you seeing from the team? How are they handling this? Are they a team that's able to put the last 2 weeks behind them, obviously, and work towards this next week?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're disappointed, and I think that they want to win. They want to be, what everybody, when you think of EKU football, what everybody thinks about. And guys, we're 3-4, which I know is not good, but we've got 2 SCS losses. We can turn this thing around. That's the thing you've got to remember. Those first couple of games, they matter, and we have to do a great job in those games. But when it comes to playoff implications, when it comes to all those things that the FBS is starting to understand a little bit, that doesn't matter. What matters is what you do in your FCS play. And so we have to, we still got a lot to play for. I mean, technically, there's probably still a chance for a conference championship. There's still a chance to be undefeated at Roy Kidd Stadium. Definitely. We're 3-0 right now there. And then there's a chance to make a run once you get into the playoffs. So those are the things that we have to keep focused in front of us and work hard to do. Now, when you lose, like you said, everybody's got the dauber down. They walk around like this. I do sometimes. And you got to remember to keep your spirits up and keep fighting and that you can't let the last game beat you twice.
All right,
Thank
any more questions for Coach? Not seeing any. Coach Wells, thank you as always for your time.
Appreciate you, man. Good to see y'all. Thanks, Keith.
And
Michael, as always.
then we're gonna move into questions for John Stone. John, if you can hop in the call. All right, John, you got us?
Yeah.
All right. Watkins, I'll let you lead off.
John, as a player over the last couple of weeks, but what has it been like on these long trips? And then talk about what it's like as you come back home following the losses too. How was the trips back home been? And again, the trips down there as well.
Um, the trips, like everyone wants to play at home. But one thing it's definitely we'll just talk about the way there first. It's definitely cool to see guys, experience different places. There's a lot of guys who've never been out to Utah. Last year was my first time. Texas, it's totally different. So, for some guys it's definitely fun and exciting to go different places and see things. That's some of my best memories here, especially that COVID year. We was all over the place on buses and stuff. So that's one thing. But traveling like that, especially out to Utah, 4-hour flight. I mean, it's just long. It's just one of those things that has to get done. Though they're in our conference and just something you have to do. But on the way back, we like Coach Wells said, we didn't execute. Certain things didn't go our way. So no one wants to be. You don't want to be on a bus ride back home after you lose. Let alone a plane where everybody's together. So yeah, it was definitely people were down and. That comes along with it. But one thing positively I've seen is the team hasn't lapsed over what's happening. That day we come back, watch the film as a team. Obviously, everyone, is upset about what happened, but it's good being someone in my position, been here for a long time. The lifts and our team runs and stuff. That next Monday following isn't. Not everyone's down and it's gloomy. It's hey, we got past it. Let's get ready for this week. So that part has been good.
You want to see out there on Saturday when you come out, when you are coming down the hill, when you look up, talk about just the sights and the sounds, and what do you want to see when you come out there on Saturday?
Yeah, so it's going to be homecoming, so I expect a good crowd. Love EKU, and we have a really good alumni base. A lot of the former people that played here, stick around, and that means a lot. I just hope to have a good environment at home. We haven't won on the road yet, so being back at home is going to be good for us to get back in our groove. One thing I want to see more of like the game part is, we've played some teams earlier at home too that we scored more, like a good amount more than the other team, but I want to see the offense, defense, and special teams all play as one. I think this is a good opportunity for us to get all three gears going before the rest of the year ends. So I think it's a good opportunity, and that's going to be a main focus, just to execute on all of our things that we need to do, get everything geared up, and kick off the rest of the year with a good record.
Keith?
Yeah, you're a vet. I mean, there's still, like Coach said, a lot to play for. How do you impress that on the rest of the guys?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of guys do come to me because they know I do like to keep it real. I just tell the guys it's like I always say, back against the wall, you can do a swing. So that's kind of where we're at. The reality, we're going to need some help for the conference, and I think we know that. But all you can do is just live day by day. Who's the opponent for this weekend? Game plan, study your film, do what you need to do, take care of business, and then the next week will follow. We can't control the uncontrollable. What else is going to happen? Who's going to win, lose? So, there's still a chance, and we're going to fight for it. And guys hearing that, especially from the older guys, and we have a players board group, kind of the older guys and some newer guys mixed and mingled. So, having that idea out to everybody that they can spread the word, it definitely encourages people to, not to be focused on the bad part, but be like, we got to go out this week, got to do our thing, and the cards will fall, they fall. So,
Yeah, and John, obviously last 2 weeks, the results on the field haven't been what you guys have wanted as a team, but offensively, you guys have, seen a few guys step up and kind of take on, a larger load and really step up to the plate in terms of performance. Josh Carter and Daquan Stanley have really, shined these past few weeks. How important is it, obviously you're on the line, but how is it important for the entire offense is to have those guys that can be those go-to options that, when your backs might be against the wall or you guys know you need a big play, you can turn to guys like that to get something out.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to have that because in certain situations you want to lean on certain guys to make the play. There football to me is a huge trust factor. Who's out there beside you and who, when a play is called, you kind of know there's different options, but there's really just one, if that kind of makes sense. Like, something gets called, you're like, yeah, this is going to happen. So having those guys is a huge gain. But I think from, a different perspective is having those guys that have so much focus on them opens up for a lot of the younger guys too. Um, just saying the wide receiver room, Stanley's been doing an awesome job, and I'm really happy for him because I've seen him put the work in. But now he has all this attention and all this stuff. The other guys that are still developing are getting these opportunities to make plays, and I think they're going to fall their way here soon.
All right. John, as always, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. And I'll transition to questions for Ryan Jackson. Ryan, if you can hop in the call.
Hello.
All right. Michael, I'll let you lead off with questions for Rhino.
Ryan, we talked a lot before the season, and when you look back at where you got started to where you are now, what do you think has been the biggest maybe surprise to this point in the season for you and the team?
Biggest surprise. I want to say the biggest surprise is how well we really still bond together. Because there was a lot of new guys, new additions to the team, lots of transfers. Yeah, we still had a bunch of older guys, a bunch of vets on the team, but still having those new people come in and kind of mold with us and gel with us as fast as they did is still a big thing to me. And I think that's probably the biggest surprise because we've had teams that have been way closer or been here for more years, and we go through turmoil, and obviously we know how to handle it, stuff like that, with people we're comfortable with. But when stuff starts going bad with people you don't really know and you don't really know how they'll react to stuff, to see the team still stay together and stay strong and still wanting to get better is probably the biggest surprise to me.
When you look at the defense, especially when you guys played at home, I feel like there was somebody different stepping up, making some big plays every single week, and maybe multiple guys each week as well. So, do you think that kind of makes you all special or different because you've got so many guys that, okay, if you game plan to stop the D line, well, then the corners and safeties can make plays, and vice versa. Same with the linebackers. So, do you think that's kind of what makes the defense a little bit harder to game plan against because you'll have different guys that can step up and make big plays in big moments?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a great compliment to a defense, having guys who have the ability to make big plays at any point in time, especially with our defense. How exciting and how much energy we can really bring to a game. You guys have seen it at home, and if we can start making plays, it not only gets our defense going, it gets the crowd going, it gets the offense going. Sometimes the special teams will get motivated, and I think that's been a thing and a theme for our team. Big plays gets excitement, and big plays produce energy, and energy is something that we always need for the team.
All right. Keith, any questions?
Yeah, I'm just curious, like you're a vet. What has helped you through your career? When did you learn not to overlook a team like you've got coming in here this week that you could easily overlook and be looking ahead to the next week?
It would probably be a time. It was either 2020 or 2021. I believe a team came here. It was Indiana, not Indiana. It was like the Sycamores or something like that. It was a blue
Indiana
team.
State, yeah.
Indiana State. They came from one of the higher team or one of the higher divisions in FCS and come to our house, and they beat us. And that's probably the biggest eye opener I had, because it was the first time people had told me it was one of those games where, this is a game where you should you should try and get some stuff going. Like not that they're a bad team, but it's a team where this should build momentum. This should build something good for you. And then they come in and stomp us or beat us at home. And that was probably the biggest realization. I don't know if I've never really overlooked teams. I've always thought football is a respectable game, and you got to play everybody just as hard as whoever steps on the field. They deserve your respect too. But it made me realize people come to take respect when they come to your place, and people come to take what's theirs. Then nobody's going to give you anything. So.
And Ryan, last question for you. Obviously your first three home games you guys had, defense really put some really strong performances out there. And you guys have had some good individual performances and some solid performances on the road, but obviously a lot more yards being gained, these past 2 weeks against you guys. What's it going to take to kind of get back to what the defense has shown that they're capable of at Roy Kidd Stadium this week against Utah Tech?
It will definitely take more strain and effort from our guys up front. That's our biggest position that we need to especially step up, make some more TFLs and plays in the backfield. But I think coming back home, kind of recouping, kind of getting back into the groove of stuff that we do around here, not having to go on the road and not having to be on planes for hours, bus trips for hours. Heck, when we went to Utah, we were up a mountain. But I think the juice will start rolling back in not once we get back into like comfortability with what we do, but when we can finally get people back and people not as banged up, and when we can start making plays again, I'll be excited for our defense.
Ryan, thank you so much for your time. Media members, thanks for joining the call today. I'll have game notes out to you all this afternoon, and we'll see you all on Saturday.